Before we go any further, if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, please hit that subscribe button right now and turn on the bell notification, because what I'm about to share with you today is the kind of content I pour my entire soul into, and I don't want you to miss a single word of it. Seriously, subscribe right now. Okay, now let's talk. Did you know that there are people walking this earth right now who feel completely out of place, like they don't quite belong, like they were made for something bigger, but nobody ever told them what that something is? Maybe you've felt it too. That quiet, persistent feeling in the back of your mind that whispers, there's more to your life than this. That feeling that no matter how much you achieve, no matter how much you accomplish, something still feels incomplete, like a puzzle with one piece missing that you can never seem to find. You look around at everyone else, and they seem fine, they seem content, they seem like they've figured it out. But you're still searching, still asking, still wondering why you feel so different from everyone around you. What if I told you that feeling isn't a flaw? What if I told you that feeling is actually a sign? What if everything you've been through, every moment of pain, every season of confusion, every time you felt overlooked, misunderstood, or completely alone, was actually preparing you for something that most people will never be chosen for? Stick with me, because by the end of this video, I'm going to tell you everything. And I mean everything, the things nobody talks about, the signs you've been ignoring, the truth about who you really are and why your life has unfolded exactly the way it has. This is your moment. Don't go anywhere. So let's start at the very beginning, because I think to truly understand what it means to be a chosen one, we have to dismantle every Hollywood version of that phrase that's been planted in our minds when most people hear chosen one. They imagine some dramatic scene, lightning from the sky, a prophecy written in ancient text, someone with supernatural powers saving the world in a 2-hour movie. And because real life doesn't look like that, most people dismiss the idea entirely. They think, well, that's not me. I'm just a regular person living a regular life. But here's what I've come to understand, and here's what I need you to really hear today. Being chosen has never been about being special in the way the world defines special. It's not about being the smartest person in the room, or the most talented, or the most visible. It's something far deeper, far quieter, and far more powerful than any of that. The chosen ones are not chosen because they are perfect. They are chosen because they are willing. They are chosen because something inside them, some deep, unshakable core, refuses to give up even when every logical reason to give up is sitting right in front of them. They are chosen because they carry a light that even darkness cannot fully extinguish. And if you've made it to this video today, if something pulled you here, if a title or a thumbnail or just a feeling made you press play, I want you to sit with this for a second. Nothing in your life has been an accident. Let me tell you something that took me a long time to fully accept. The hardest seasons of your life were not punishments. They were not evidence that the universe had forgotten about you, or that God had turned away, or that you were somehow cursed. Those hard seasons were classrooms. Every betrayal you experienced was teaching you discernment. Every failure was building your resilience. Every time you were left out, overlooked, or underestimated, you were being protected from spaces that were never meant to hold you. Because here's the truth about chosen ones that nobody tells you at the beginning of the journey. The preparation is brutal. And it has to be, because the assignment is enormous. Think about every person throughout history who was chosen for something remarkable. Think about their stories before the remarkable part. Think about the isolation, the suffering, the years of feeling like nothing was working. Think about how many times they must have questioned themselves in the dark, in the quiet, in the moments when nobody was watching and nobody was cheering. The preparation always looks like destruction before it looks like elevation. And if you're in a season right now where everything feels like it's falling apart, I need you to hear this with every fiber of your being. Things falling apart and things falling into place can look identical from the inside. You often don't know which one it is until you're standing on the other side of it. Now I want to talk about the signs, because I promised you I was going to tell you everything, and this is one of the most important parts. There are specific patterns that show up in the lives of people who are being prepared for a greater purpose, and I want to walk you through them one by one, not as a checklist, but as a mirror. I want you to hold these up to your own life and see yourself clearly, maybe for the first time. The first sign is that you've always felt different. Not better, not worse, just different, like you came into this world already tuned to a frequency that most people around you couldn't quite hear. Maybe it was there in childhood, that feeling of watching the world rather than just living in it, noticing things other kids didn't notice, feeling things more deeply, asking questions that made adults uncomfortable because they didn't have the answers. That sensitivity, that depth, that quiet knowing, that's not a weakness. That is your antenna. That is how you receive what most people miss entirely. The second sign is that you've experienced loss and hardship that seemed disproportionate to what you deserved. And I say this carefully because I'm not glorifying suffering. I'm not telling you that pain is good and you should just be grateful for it. What I'm saying is that there is a pattern in the lives of chosen ones where the weight of what they carry far exceeds what seems fair. And that weight, when it doesn't destroy you, when you survive it, when you find a way to keep breathing even when breathing feels impossible, that weight becomes wisdom. It becomes depth. It becomes the very thing that allows you to reach people that nobody else can reach because you've been where they are. You know what that darkness feels like from the inside, and that's not something you can fake. That's not something you can learn from a book or a course or a YouTube video. That's something that is forged in you through real experience. The third sign is that people are drawn to you, often without being able to fully explain why. Strangers open up to you in ways they don't open up to others. People in pain find their way to you. There's something about your presence that makes people feel safe, seen, and understood. And sometimes this feels like a burden, doesn't it? Sometimes you're exhausted by how much people bring to you. Sometimes you absorb so much of the world's pain that you don't even know where theirs ends and yours begins. That's real, that's valid, and we're going to talk about that too. But I need you to understand that this gift of making people feel safe, this ability to hold space for other people's deepest truths, is not something that just anyone has. It is specific to you. It was placed in you on purpose. The fourth sign, and this one is going to hit some of you hard, is that your path has not looked like everyone else's path. You've probably tried to follow the conventional route, go to school, get the job, do the thing everyone expects you to do. And maybe you've succeeded at parts of it, but there's always been this persistent feeling that you were off script, like you were acting in someone else's movie. And every time you've tried to force yourself into a box that wasn't built for you, something has happened to pull you back out. A door closes, a plan falls through, a relationship ends, and at the time it felt like failure, it felt like punishment. But looking back, can you see how every closed door was actually redirection? Can you see how the path that felt like it was going where was actually going somewhere very specific, somewhere you couldn't have planned if you tried? Now, I want to talk about something that doesn't get discussed enough in these kinds of conversations, and that is the loneliness of the chosen path. Because I think if I'm going to tell you everything, I have to tell you this part too. The journey of someone who is being prepared for a greater purpose can be profoundly isolating. Not because you don't have people who love you, not because you're not surrounded by good people, but because there are parts of your calling that you simply cannot share with just anyone. There are depths inside you that most conversations never reach. There are visions you carry that would sound crazy if you spoke them out loud to the wrong person. And so you learn to hold things, you learn to carry things quietly. In that quietness, that internal life that runs deeper than your external life, can make you feel incredibly alone even in a room full of people. If that's you, I want you to know that the loneliness you feel is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It is a sign that you are being kept. It is a sign that your innermost self is being preserved for something that requires that kind of depth and that kind of quiet. Because shallow water makes a lot of noise, but deep water runs in silence, and you are deep water. Let's talk about the question I know some of you are sitting with right now, the one that's been circling in your mind since the beginning of this video. How do I know if this is really about me? How do I know I'm not just hearing what I want to hear? And that's a fair question. That's actually a wise question, because the truth is, not everyone who feels called is willing to answer. Not everyone who carries a gift is willing to do the work that activating that gift requires. Feeling chosen and living chosen are two very different things. And this is where I need to be completely honest with you. Being on a chosen path is not a destination. It's a daily decision. It's choosing to show up even when you're scared. It's choosing to tell the truth even when silence would be easier. It's choosing to keep going even when every piece of evidence in front of you is saying it's time to quit. It's choosing to trust the process even when the process makes no sense, even when you can't see the next step, even when you're standing in the dark with no map and no flashlight and no guarantee that anything you're moving toward is real. That daily act of choosing, that is what separates the people who step into their purpose from the people who spend their whole lives on the edge of it. And here's something else I want you to understand. Your purpose is not something you discover all at once. It reveals itself in layers. The version of your purpose you can see right now in this season is only one layer. As you grow, as you heal, as you shed what no longer serves you, deeper layers reveal themselves. So if you feel like you don't have it all figured out, if you feel like you can't see the full picture yet, that's not a problem. That's by design, because if you could see everything all at once, the weight of it would crush you. You're being given exactly as much as you can carry in each season, and as your capacity grows, more is revealed. Trust that. Now I want to speak directly to someone who might be in a season of waiting right now. Someone who feels like they've done everything right, they've done the inner work, they've been patient, they've been faithful, and still nothing seems to be moving. Still the breakthrough hasn't come. Still the vision feels just as far away today as it did a year ago. And you're starting to wonder if maybe you got it wrong. Maybe you misread the signs. Maybe it's not coming. Maybe you were never really chosen for anything at all. Stay, please stay, because here's what I know about the waiting room. The waiting room is where character is built. It's where the things in you that would sabotage your destiny, if they were still there, are quietly, carefully removed. It's where your roots go deep before your branches go wide. Because if you grew too fast, if the breakthrough came before the foundation was solid, the whole thing would collapse under its own weight. And that would be a far greater tragedy than the waiting. So if you're in the waiting room right now, I need you to see it differently. You're not being delayed. You're being prepared. There is a difference, and the difference is everything. Let me tell you what the chosen path actually looks like on the other side of the preparation, because I don't want this to only be about the hard parts. There comes a moment, and I believe with everything in me that this moment is coming for you. There comes a moment when everything clicks, when the pain makes sense, when the pieces that seemed completely unrelated suddenly form a picture you couldn't have imagined. When the thing you thought was your greatest wound becomes your greatest gift. When the story you've been living, with all its mess and all its beauty, becomes the exact story someone else needed to hear to save their own life. That moment is real. That moment is waiting for you on the other side of your obedience, on the other side of your courage, on the other side of your willingness to keep going. And what happens in that moment is not just personal victory, it's generational, because chosen ones don't just change their own lives. They change the lives of everyone in their orbit. They break cycles that have been running in their families for generations. They build things that outlast them. They speak words that echo long after they've left the room. The ripple effect of one person stepping fully into their purpose is incalculable. You cannot measure it. You cannot see its full scope from where you're standing, but it is real, and it starts with you. It starts with the decision you make today, in this moment, about whether you're going to keep running from your calling or finally, fully, turn and face it. So here's what I want to leave you with today, and this is the part I really need you to carry with you. You were not a mistake.